Hey y'all, today we're going to, so here we are, okay? You probably have more windows than I do. I wanted to leave some of my spaces open for words. You're like, oh, I have windows, how am I gonna fit words? It's pencil, you can erase it. Or you can choose not to do it. This is an option, this is not a requirement, although I do challenge you to try things that I'm teaching you, so you can increase your knowledge of perspective. Why not, okay? So again, I have my sketchbook, I have my pencil with an eraser. It's a little one, but it works, okay? My straight edge is a sign I bought at Target, like a boss. It's actually a really good straight edge, so I'm excited to use it. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna start with this building here. I'm gonna keep the word simple. I'm just gonna write hello or hola or something that's simple. You can give it an actual title. So there's buildings in New York City that have really large signs on them. This could be whatever you want it to be. So if you made it up, that's okay too, okay? So I need to make guidelines to help guide me into writing these words. And every single letter, the sides of my letters, are going to have to meet up with my vanishing point, which will probably deter a few of you from even putting it in your city. But again, I still want you to try. So you're practicing with me now on one of your buildings and then potentially erasing it later if you don't like it, okay? So I'm gonna make my guidelines on the side are already there because it's the side of my building, right? And then the top guideline here, I'm just gonna line it up, make a parallel line. I'm gonna put it in a random spot just because for the sake of example, I want you to be able to see it, so I want it to be a little larger. I put my ruler on the top so you can see where your line is going. Okay, so within this space right here, I'm going to add in some letters or make a word, right? Okay, so you have to decide how many letters you're going to put on there. And I'm just going to write the word hola. There are 4 letters in there, right? So I'm going to divide my space into 4 sections. So we kind of planning ahead. I'm just gonna make lines between. Notice that I'm still lining it up with my vanishing point. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, okay? So take a moment, set that up. You can do the same thing I'm doing for the sake of practice. If you wanna put your name on a building, if you're like, oh, I have a really long name, maybe use a nickname or your initials. Initials are oftentimes used in businesses, just a little information for you. Think about what you could possibly do with that. I mean, this could even be, you could leave it like this and this becomes windows. Like you can get really creative with these ideas. I just want you to have more options to make your city unique and different and something that represents you and something you're proud of, okay? So do this first and then we'll come back. Okay, so y'all know I'm not a great videographer, so I'm going to draw this way and then I'm going to turn it around. But what I'm going to do is just write each one of my letters to fit inside of my shape, right? So I'm going to write the H first and I'm going to try to do it in a black letter. Okay, so when you look at the H, right? The angle of the side of the H, I didn't just draw it straight, right? Like every single line kind of becomes parallel or perpendicular to the lines that I created, okay? So notice this side of the H here is parallel to this side. Yes, technically you should use your ruler for every part of this, but because it's so small, as long as you have a steady hand, you can do it without the straight edge, okay? I still want you to try it. You could even just write it. You don't have to do block letters like I'm doing as well, okay? So let me write the other ones. I might be able to do it upside down because I have guidelines, right? So my O, okay? Notice the side of my O kind of goes at an angle to fit that spot. Okay? So you can start to see it fit inside of that space. The L. Okay, I'm okay with a little bit of a curvy line. It's a sign. As long as it fits within those guidelines, you're going to create the illusion of perspective, okay? And then the last is the A. I'll do another sign where I just write the words. For those of you that are a little nervous about doing block letters, that's not a requirement. Okay, so you can see the sign and how it looks or appears to be in perspective. It has the illusion that it's on the side of the building. I can either leave the lines I have here in between my letters because those were guides, or I can actually keep them there. Maybe it's part of my sign, okay? So you try it, and then we'll move on to another building and do just regular old letters. Here we go. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna put a sign on this building here, and I'll point out and redraw so you can see it. I've made some guidelines to help me write in, I'm gonna write in my name, my last name, okay? And I'm gonna create it like those buildings you see, I mean, sometimes you see them when you go downtown, or you go to other tall buildings in the city where they have like the business name across the top. That's pretty normal for a lot of businesses. I know I see it on hospitals and the medical center, and I'm gonna write Crancer, okay? So if I count the letters in my name, C-R-A-N-C-E-R, there are 7. Yes, I needed to count it. I kind of knew it was 7, but you know, let's be real. We're not always thinking about how many letters are in our name, right? I also probably want to make sure I have enough space. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces, okay? Here's what I did. Okay, right here I made little tiny dots, and I'm gonna make sure my letters fit inside these little spaces to make sure that I've spaced it out so I don't start writing and then run out of room. Okay, so that's just another guide to help you. Okay, so I'm going to make little tiny guidelines from each dot. I might eventually erase them. For the sake of example, I might just keep them so you can see them. I can also, if you're curious, take a photo of this and place it in the chat if you're like, I need to see this a little closer than what's on the video, okay? So if you look here, I mean, in general, this looks kind of cool as it is, right? Like as windows, like it's the top floor of the building, the penthouse, right? But I'm gonna use it to put the letters of my name as this building were mine, right? In an alternate universe. Okay, so I'm going to, let me make sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I must have been using this one over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I forgot one line. Hello, Crancer. That's why I thought it looked weird. Okay. So making sure that you have enough space, right? The longer names are gonna be a little harder, okay? All right, so I'm gonna start writing my name in a regular handwriting. I'm gonna write 2 letters. Okay, so look how I've written CR, right? They fit inside of the shape. Okay, so you have to, and this might be easier for some because you don't have to do block letters. It still looks like it's in perspective. It adds dimension and interest to your city because that's what you're looking for, okay? You want your city to be as unique as you are. Every single one of my letters on here is at an angle. So as I'm writing this, you should see like the N, for example, is not straight up and down. It's at an angle because it follows the guidelines that go up to my vanishing point up here in the middle, okay? What I want you guys to try, finish writing this word, okay? Look, it's Crancer Incorporated. What I want you guys to try is 1 word on 1 building. If you like the way it looks, because I think it looks pretty cool, okay, on these 2 buildings here, okay, then I would encourage you to do it on more. Because you're using pencil, you should be able to erase. You are going to be adding value and color, so any eraser marks or pencil marks that you think are gonna distract your viewer or could potentially be covered up, okay? This is the process of an artist, right? Like you can make mistakes, but can you find ways to cover those mistakes so nobody knows that you made a mistake, right? So the next 5 minutes, I want you to set up and write a word on one of your buildings, okay? If you need to rewind this video, I've posted the link in the chat, and I want you guys to have access to that. I'm also posting it, or will post it, in the links and resources under our Teams page, okay? So let's get started, let's practice. Let me know what questions you have, okay? I'm here for you. Thanks, y'all.